When a scared boy hears mysterious footsteps late one night, he's afraid it might be a ghost. But when the boy awakens, a true mystery arises. If this was a ghost, how did it do what it did? And then we take a look at a true crime story that is turned into a conspiracy theory. Is it possible that world-famous comedian Bill Murray doesn't just tickle your funny bone, he wants to take it and sell it to the highest bidder? Today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you guys are having a great day too. I hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. So first off, running into Dead Rabbit Radio Command, everyone get on your feet and give it up for 925 at the morgue. Woohoo, yeah, wee! He's rolling on in on a gurney. Wee! Surfing on a dead body. Coming on into Dead Rabbit Radio Command, 925 at the morgue made a very generous donation during our 7th anniversary live stream special, which, if memory serves me correct, was in July. Wait, no, it would have been in June. It was in June of last year. We're still getting through this list. Oh, wait, last year? No, it's still 2025, right? Oh, anyways, it was months ago. We're still getting through the list. 925 at the morgue. Thank you so much for your donation. That is why you are going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially through the merch store or through the Patreon, I totally understand. I really do. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Okay, 925 at the morgue. Let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm going to toss you... we haven't used this in a while. 925 in the morgue. I'm going to go ahead and toss you the hair hang glider. Everyone grab on to his ankles as 925 jumps off the highest point at Dead Rabbit Radio Command and glides us all the way out to a little boy's house. Just a quick reminder, though, before we get started. September 12th. At 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be doing our Dead Rabbit Radio movie night. It's always a lot of fun. We skipped one or two of it during the summer, so I want to get started back on it. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. To attend the movie night, you do need to be a Patreon member, but you do not have to be a paid Patreon member. If you are a member of the Patreon, there is a free tier, and that will allow you access to the link to join us for Dead Rabbit Radio Movie Night. And what we do is we watch a collection of short films. So we end up probably watching like 10, 15 different short films over the course of the 2 hours. And then starting probably in October, I really want to do our Saturday morning Dead Rabbit Radio Movie Club. That'll also be once a month for those of you in different time zones that can't join us. I'm looking at you, Rudy Jazz. I know you really want to join us, but you are in either Switzerland or Sweden. I still don't remember. I think it's Switzerland. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, September 12th. Just join the Patreon. Free or paid tiers. You can join us for the Dead Rabbit Radio Movie Club. Okay, 925 in the morgue. 925 in the morgue usually makes it. He goes to a lot of them. He comes to a lot of movie clubs. We're too busy talking about movies. He crashes into the house we are flying out to. After we brush off the debris, we get up and we walk into this little boy's house. The year is 2010. Now, we don't have his real name. We're going to go ahead and call him Dylan. Dylan is 7 years old. And one night, he wakes up in the middle of the night, and he's sitting there in bed, and he's all scared, because he's a little 7-year-old boy. He's looking around. It's just an empty room. Well, it had toys and stuff in it. He wasn't kept a prisoner. He's not locked in the basement. And he's overcome with this feeling that he wants to see his mom. So, to make the trek from his bedroom to his parents' bedroom, he has to walk down the hallway. And, not the best journey to make in the middle of the night. But luckily, Dylan has some guardians to help him out. Guardians of the Galaxy, you might say. So he throws on his Star Wars blanket, the real Guardians of the Galaxy, not those posers with the tree. He throws on a Star Wars blanket adorned with pictures of C-3PO and Darth Vader and Chewie. And he wraps it around him and he begins making his way down the dark hallway. Well, when he walks out into the hallway, that was a stupid joke about Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm still like, that was dumb. Why did I even tell that? I even knew I was going to tell it in advance. I came up with it about 45 seconds ago. I go, that'll be funny. No, it's terrible. But that's not Dylan. I'm still thinking about how bad that joke was, but let me get back to the story. Dylan walks out of his room. He begins walking down the dark hallway. Dylan needs to go see his mom. Well, he wants to, but first he needs to make a stop at the bathroom. So he walks into the bathroom and he uses the bathroom. But while he's in there, he hears... What? Porky Pig dripping wet? Falling down the stairs? No! My legs do not sound like ham, slapping ham. You're like, Jason, you're the one who always makes that comparison. No one else does. Yes, I am not wearing pants while recording. I'm not nude either, just so we're clear. I do have boxer shorts on, but I'm slapping my bare thighs. Because that's the sound. It does sound like someone who just got out of the pool. It does sound like wet feet hitting concrete. But what he's... You're like, stop it, it's more confusing. The noise is more confusing. You're like, did the bathroom flood? Someone walking through the water? He's in the bathroom, and he hears the sound of somebody walking down the hallway. And Dylan assumes it's his mom. And he calls out, Mom! Mom? There's no answer. And he's sitting there in the bathroom. The footsteps are still coming. And at this point, he's pretty scared. Because if it's not his mom, I mean, I guess it could be his dad, but he doesn't think that. And even a dad would say, no, son, it's me, your father. Like that. The kid is scared. I was trying to do a Darth Vader impression. Son, the kid's all peeing his pants. Even though he took them off in the bathroom, he put them back on just to pee him. Even a dad would say, no, son, it's me, your dad. Get out of the bathroom, you gotta use it. But there's no answer at all. Dylan is in the bathroom and he hears the footsteps continue past the bathroom door. He doesn't know what to think. I mean, your best case scenario is a burglar. I mean, I guess your best case scenario is your mom's deaf. Both your parents have hearing problems and they hear you calling out. But outside of it being your parents, if you heard footsteps in your house, the best case scenario, it's a prowler. Or some pervert who's going to sneak into your parents' bedroom and start going through your mother's underwear drawer. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario, well, I guess the second to last worst case scenario would be a family annihilator. Some guy's going in to murder everyone in the house. But even worse than that, at least from a little kid's perspective, a ghost. But whatever the case, whether it's just someone there to murder everyone in the home or a phantom from beyond, Dylan is terrified, so he's too scared to even leave the bathroom. He actually stays in the bathroom all night and falls asleep on the cold bathroom floor. The next morning, he wakes up, and he's like, oh man, he's all stiff. He's all wrapped around the toilet. He's like, why did I sleep like this? Why was I hugging the porcelain pirate? His body's U-shaped now. He wakes up, and he's like, oh, what a horrible night. I just needed to go to the bathroom. I didn't need to go to the bathroom. I just wanted to see my mom, and then all of a sudden, I had to use the bathroom, and that's a detail we'll take a look at in a second. And then I ended up hearing footsteps. I was too scared to leave. His voice kind of trails off because he realizes the bathroom door is gone. Not opened. Gone. And he gets up and he's like, what? What? Huh? What? He kind of looks down the hallway, expecting to see the bathroom door propped up against one of the walls. Maybe in the middle of the night, one of his parents had to use the bathroom, and they figured their son was locked in there, so they removed the door and put it somewhere, and were going to scold him later. But there's no bathroom door in the hallway either. He's like, what? Well, Dylan ends up telling his parents, and his parents are like, what in the world are you talking about? The bathroom door is gone? Could you imagine waking up in the morning to that? Your 7-year-old's like, Mom, Dad, I think a monster took our door. Or maybe a pervert trying to go through Mom's clothes. They're like, wait, what? Wait. First off, what do you know what a pervert is? Secondly, our bathroom door's gone. And the parents get up, and sure enough, the bathroom door's gone. And it's nowhere in the house. So because Dylan heard footsteps and a door is missing, they call the police. The police come out, and they look around the house, and they're like, well, yep, your door's gone. And they're like, yeah, that's why we called you out here. And the cop's like, it's weird. Son, you didn't see anything? No, I just heard someone walking around and someone stole my door. Well, the police ended up investigating. I mean, really, what can you do? They're like, oh, we would take fingerprints, but the thing that's missing is the one that has all the fingerprints on it. The police had no clue as to what or who would have done this. The police said, this isn't like some weird fetish thing. There's not a bathroom door burglar running around town or anything like that. We'll keep an eye out for it. What does it look like? It's a door. It's a door. It fits perfectly in a door frame. Oh, okay. If we see any of those, hey, look, there's one right there. They're like, oh, that's my bedroom door. Oh, man. The cops couldn't really figure anything out either. So in the end, Dad and Mom had to go out and buy a new door for the bathroom. Dylan ends his story by writing, quote, "It made no sense why they just want that, but I think it was not about the door, but rather to get me. I've mostly abandoned the memory, but bathroom doors give me little moments of PTSD. I try to piss outside whenever I can." Unquote. So to this day, this young man is afraid to drain the main vein behind a door, fearful that whatever came for him once will come for him again. He posted the story online underneath the name Anxious Clothes 2583. It's a really interesting story. It starts off as a standard ghost story. Footsteps down the hallway is one of the, I honestly would say it probably is second or third most ghostly common phenomenon. It doesn't have to be down a hallway, but the sound of ghostly footsteps is right underneath phantom smells or dreams of the dead. Someone recently died, came to you and had a conversation with you, and it touched you in a way. Those are really the most common types of ghostly occurrences. So it starts off like a standard ghost story, but then the way that we go in the middle of it, a door disappearing, I've never come across anything of that size missing before. Ghosts taking objects, again, happens a lot. Taking them and putting them in places where they weren't supposed to go. And when it's packaged in with, I was hearing ghostly footsteps, I'd wake up sometimes and see a shadow standing in the corner of my room. I had my favorite bracelet. I put it down on my nightstand like I always do. One morning I woke up, it was gone. 3 months later, we found it underneath a couch cushion. In that case, we go, that is part of the ghostly activity. But think about how often you have quote-unquote, you have misplaced something in your home, only for it to turn up in a location that it should never have been. I think those stories are underreported. Because most people go, well, that's weird. Why is the television remote underneath my bed? I don't even have a TV in here. I've been looking all over for this thing. Is that a sign of a ghostly activity? It could also be a sign of dementia, but here's the thing. You're like, I'm 90 years old, I'm getting plagued by spirits, and they're sending me back in time. It's the roaring 20s. So, yeah, it's very interesting for some, but even on all those accounts, I mean, stealing a bathroom door has to take the cake. Ghost probably would have taken the cake if it was out too. Terrible joke, Jason, come on. You're better than this. You're better than this. A ghost stealing the door, what did it do with it? Matter cannot disappear. The ghost either took the door to the realm of the dead, which for what reason, who knows, right? I mean, they're like, ghosts, please stop littering. Look at all these remotes and bracelets. And Jerry, why'd you bring that door back with you? He's like, I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny. I thought it'd be funny to give a kid PTSD when it comes to urinating. Did it go to some unearthly realm? And if that's the case, listen, if a ghost can grab a door and shift it into the land of the dead, it could just as easily grab you and pull you into the world of the dead. In fact, I would argue a kid weighs less than a door. I don't know. I'm not going to Google that. I'm not going to Google it, but I'm just guessing. You're like, yeah, maybe a baby. Doors aren't that heavy. They're not 100 pounds. How much do you think a 70-year-old weighs? I don't know. But did the ghost take the door to the land of the dead? Did the ghost take the door and is it somewhere else? Is someone going to walk through the woods 8 miles south of here and come across the perfectly good door just laying in the ground? Or was it not a prank? Was Dylan's instinct correct? Was this not a ghost at all, but something far more powerful than that actually targeted Dylan, that got Dylan to wake up in the middle of the night and put into Dylan's head, go see your mother. And it was planning on getting him in the hallway, something that I've personally experienced, we've talked about before on the show. And this doesn't get brought up a lot in paranormal conversations, paranormal television shows. They don't talk about this, but when you are under a paranormal event or when one's about to begin, you have, not all the time, but I've experienced this, and I've been with groups of people, the same thing has happened. You have a need to go pee out of the blue. All of a sudden, you really, really have to urinate. And I think it's some sort of biological fear mechanism going on. And he may have sensed that, and that's why, remember, he was already walking through the dark as this little kid, and he goes, no, I gotta go pee first. Went into the bathroom, and when the thing couldn't, it's interesting because the thing passed by the bathroom as if it was continuing down the hallway to look for him. And when it realized he wasn't in the hallway, it would have doubled back to the bathroom and then removed the door. And at that point, you go, well, if it removed the door, why didn't it get him then? I don't know. Maybe he used all of his demonic strength to remove the door. He's like, finally, fresh flesh. He looks down at the kid and he's like, I'm tired. I'm really tired. My muscles hurt. That took a lot. That's it. I'm taking this door, kid. If I can't have your soul, I'll take this wood. So interesting story. I mean, imagine that. And that would be truly unexplainable. Even the parents are like, I have no idea. The cops have no idea. Dylan kind of has a clue. He thinks that whatever it was paranormal. But even then, as far as he's concerned, whatever it was, it'd honestly be creepier in a way. When you're a kid, a monster would be the scariest thing. But as an adult, imagine that. You woke up in the middle of the night and your bedroom door was gone. And even if you didn't think it was a ghost, it probably would be creepier to think someone broke into my house in the middle of the night, completely quietly, was able to enter my room, and without even waking me up, without disturbing me one bit, removed my bedroom door and took it. There's another level of fear as far as that goes. Both of those, a ghost or a human, could definitely give you PTSD when it comes to the pee. 925 The Morgue, let's go ahead and toss you the keys to the world-famous Carpenter Copter. We're saying goodbye to Dylan. We have his bathroom door. We're like, we had it all along. And Guardians of the Galaxy is way better than Star Wars. He's all crying. We're all, Chewbacca sucks. 925 The Morgue, we're flying away from Dylan's house. Why don't you take us all the way out to Illinois? First off, I want to give a shout out to this awesome YouTube channel called Strange Bar and Grill. They are a YouTube channel that does true crime and conspiracy theory content because so often they are combined. And they cover a lot of cases that I've never heard of. There's a couple more videos I want to watch that are kind of on the same subject that we're about to discuss, but different parts of America. It is a problem. It is a problem. It is a real problem, the idea of organ harvesting. But the case we're going to look at goes above and beyond a problem. The mundane, and I hate to use that word because we're talking about humans being killed specifically for their organs. But those stories pale in comparison to the one we're about to look at. A true life mystery that I believe is on the level of an Eliza Lamb, but has received almost no attention in the mainstream media. There's no Netflix documentary about this case. There's no hundreds of YouTube videos analyzing every piece of information, although we have hours worth of surveillance video footage involving this incident. And you could say, well, there could be multiple reasons why this isn't a mainstream story, but is it possible the reason why this story isn't as big as Eliza Lamb, although it's just as mysterious, is because the person... This is where my lawyer's like, don't just say allegedly like 18 times, you'll be okay. The person behind this, allegedly... My lawyer's like giving me the thumbs up, is world-famous celebrity Bill Murray. Now, you probably have seen him at some point in your life. Probably seen a movie of him. Ghostbusters, Caddyshack. I never saw Caddyshack. But Ghostbusters, Groundhog's Day. Those are the only two movies I can think of, but my point is, you know who Bill Murray is. I know who Bill Murray is. Garfield. He's done a ton of good stuff. But what if he's not trying to make another Groundhog Day? What if he's trying to ground you into meat today? This story's nuts. And again, shout out to Strange Bar and Grill. They did a ton of research on this. I'll put their links in the show notes for sure. I do want to add this before we go any further. I was checking out some stuff as I was editing this episode. I was mispronouncing her name, unfortunately, as Kenneka Jenkins. Kenneka Jenkins. And I also want to say, too, I said, this isn't a super well-known conspiracy theory. It hasn't really been covered in the mainstream media. And while that is mostly true, I am a little bit off on that. Strange Bar and Grill covered it. We talked about them already. But Scare Theater covered this story 6 years ago. So I wanted to give them a shout out. I didn't see that in my initial research, but definitely they are a big channel. So hats off to them for covering this story as well. I think the more people who cover it, the better, because it's quite a wild ride. But even though I finished the episode, so even though I mispronounced her name, it's unfortunate. But yeah, Kenneka. I'll call her Kenneka the rest of the episode, but that's my bad. It's September 8th, leading into September 9th. The year is 2017. We're in Rosemont, Illinois. We're about to meet a young woman named Kenneka Jenkins. She's 19 years old. She's from Chicago. And her friends are going to a private party being held at the Crown Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel. They get there. They go to their room 926. And they are in their room until 1:13 in the morning on September 9th. But her friends said, we noticed when we were at the party itself, Kenneka was having a really good time. But she also seemed a little uneasy on her feet, a little sloppy, you might say. Drunk? Everyone's drinking, having a good time. But there was something about it that the friends go, it just seemed she was off more than normal. Now, this is all stuff they're thinking in retrospect. In the moment, everyone's just having a good time at the party. When the police get involved, they're going to ask the friends, hey, what happened? And they go, well, now that you mention it. At the party, Kenneka is dancing, she's having fun, but at one point she just wraps her arms around a man and begins swaying back and forth. She can barely keep herself up at this point. Her friends noted that sometimes she seemed sad. She didn't dance as much as they were. She didn't dance as much as she normally did. And there were a lot of drugs available at this party, and they were being offered to the girls. Kenneka only drank cognac. She drank cognac, but she stayed away from the weed. She stayed away from the other drugs. And party went on. At 3:20 a.m., there's video footage of Kenneka walking, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I think that is correct, Kenneka. Around 3:20 in the morning, Kenneka, on video surveillance footage, is seen walking around the hotel. People watching the video said, it's pretty obvious, look, she's drunk. She's staggering around the hotel early in the morning. It's nothing new to the hotel. They know there's a big party going on there. There's another surveillance camera that picks her up at 3:32 in the morning, walking alone through the kitchen of the hotel. Now, this kitchen, there was some remodeling going on. So for her to get to this part of the hotel, she would have had to pass through places that there was just no one at. She would have had to made her way through the part of the hotel that was open to everybody, through this construction area. There wasn't like cranes flying overhead, but you know what I mean? They're doing this remodel. She ends up walking into this kitchen, which was not being used at the time. There was no one back there, and it wasn't planned to be being used right now. It was part of this remodel. She walks into the kitchen, walks around a corner, and then there's no more surveillance footage of her. 4:30 in the morning, her friends who have Kenneka's phone call her mom and say, hey, we don't know where she's at. She's been missing for at least an hour at this point. We lost track of her after the party. They're worried, and since they have her phone, they have no way to get a hold of her. Her mother, so Kenneka's from Chicago. Her mother, who's also in Chicago, ends up driving out to this hotel to help find her daughter. She gets there at 5:30, and she goes to the hotel staff, and she goes, hey, my daughter's missing. None of her friends can find her. They said she was acting a little weird. They definitely said she was drunk, but she seemed more drunk than normal. I think something's happened to my daughter. Can you help me? Can you help me? The hotel staff said, we can send people out looking for her. Yeah, we'll just start looking for her. And Teresa Martin, the mother, Teresa says can I view video footage? Can I look at footage of your hotel so I can see where she's going? And the staff said, no, we can't let you see footage until the police show up. Well, the police are finally called at 7:14 in the morning. So at this point, it's been 4 hours since her friends have seen her. And it's been, I'm doing math, it's been 3 hours since she last appeared on video. But no one was watching that video footage live. The police show up at 7:14. They end up talking to Teresa and talking to the friends, and they say, listen, she's an adult. She probably had a little bit too much to drink. She'll show up eventually. All of that happened on the September 8th, leading into the morning of September 9th. On September 10th, around noon, a official police report, missing person report, is finally filed. The cops go to the hotel at this point. Before they were just saying, hey, listen, over the phone, she'll be fine, she'll show up. But now the police go to the hotel, and they say, hey, listen, we have a missing woman, we need to start searching the premises. At the same time, Teresa and her husband, who drove out to Chicago with her, never left the hotel. They started knocking on random doors in the hotel, asking, has anyone seen my daughter? Has anyone seen my daughter? And the hotel is trying to get the parents out of there because they're disturbing the guests. The police are trying to find the daughter, and now they're going up to Teresa and her husband and saying, hey, listen, you guys can't just be knocking on random doors. We got it. We're going to find your daughter. But at this point, 8 hours have passed since her friends last saw her. No, more than that. It's like a long time. I'm not going to do 24 plus 8, but anyways, a long time. It's 10 p.m. on September 10th when one of the officers who starts reviewing the surveillance camera footage spots her walking around. So now they can start to follow a path through the hotel, matching surveillance footage to where she's at, marking her path. And following the path that they see on video, they walk into that kitchen about 12:25 a.m. on September 10th, that kitchen that's currently being remodeled, that is not in use. The officers walk into that kitchen area and they turn the corner where they saw Kenneka disappear from view of the camera. And what they see in front of them is a walk-in freezer. They open the door and they find the body of 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins. She was laying on the floor, and what was observed was she had one shoe on, one shoe off. On the shoe that was off, she had a small cut on her foot. The walk-in freezer was so cold that the door was left open for 2 hours as the police were conducting their investigation and people were filtering in and out, law enforcement officers and coroners and stuff like that. The door was open for 2 hours, and after 2 hours of that walk-in freezer door being open, the temperature was still 34 degrees. So you can imagine how cold it was in there when Kenneka walked in. So they do an autopsy. They don't know how she died, but police kind of can figure it out. They kind of have a theory. The autopsy pretty much confirms what they thought. It was an accidental death. She had a blood alcohol content of 0.112. They believe she had no illegal drugs in her system, so the friend story checked out. They believe that she was so drunk, she just had poor judgment, poor motor skills, she was wandering. I mean, that's pretty drunk, honestly, but they said she was so drunk, she just really wasn't thinking where she was at. She was making bad choices. She walked into an empty kitchen, walked into an empty walk-in freezer, and the alcohol and the hypothermia is what killed her. However, the police also noted another drug in her system, not illegal, but not a drug she was prescribed. Something, it was just traces of it. Something called Topiramate. Topiramate? It's a migraine medicine. And they don't know how it got in her system. She wasn't prescribed it. No one knew that she ever took this stuff. And the police said a combination of alcohol and topiramate can speed along hypothermia. It's going to hit you a lot harder, a lot faster if you have these in your system. Now, this story happened in 2017, and people are still talking about it in 2025 for some pretty intriguing reasons. But since that much time has passed, The friends have been interviewed over and over and over again and have made statements to their own friends and family members. And people have said over the years, the friends' stories have kind of changed. So some people think that the friends knew more about what happened that night than what they've let on. There's also rumors that that party that they were at that night, the people who held that party were members of a gang. And so people thought, well, maybe did she piss somebody off of the gang and they offed her? Was it something like that? Did the friends set her up? But all of that stuff goes, I mean, obviously, like, there's no video footage of the gang members walking her into the walk-in freezer. There's no video footage of the friends walking her around towards the walk-in freezer. There's other ways to beat somebody up or to kill somebody that don't involve them randomly walking around a hotel. But those are things. You know, the police said, listen, there is a chance that this was foul play, which is very interesting that they have said that. They said that the death was accidental, but it's possible that there was foul play, which would mean if she was drugged at the party and then she died accidentally without anyone at the party, someone at that party would still be responsible. But at this point, the investigation is ruled incomplete. It's been 8 years since then. There's been no movement forward. Her parents did end up suing the hotel and they settled out of court. So there's two conspiracies going on here. One of them is that she was raped and murdered by someone at the party. But that somebody never shows up on these videos. So you go, well, I mean, even, it's very interesting because you think, even if they raped and murdered her somewhere else in the hotel and then she walked around the hotel absent-mindedly, which can happen to assault victims, to rape victims, you're just kind of in a fugue state. It's possible. And then she found her way into the walk-in freezer. And that is a very interesting way to look at it, as tragic as that is. The conspiracy theory that is the one that is most notable is the one that Kenneka Jenkins was a victim of a organ harvesting ring. And oddly enough, that one has a little more proof behind it. Circumstantial proof, yes. But let's say it gets weird. Because you have to think here for a second. Who has the power to do what is about to be done? A Chicago gang that's powerful enough could pull these type of strings. But so could Bill Murray. So let's take a look at the Bill Murray conspiracy part of this. You're like, yeah, I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot that Bill Murray had something to do with this. Or maybe not. Allegedly. I didn't say that. You said that. So the way that this hotel is set up, right next to the hotel is Bill Murray's restaurant, Caddyshack. In fact, some people argue that they share the same access to that kitchen. I've seen sources online say that the staff of the Caddyshack restaurant would have access to this kitchen. They're that close together. I was trying to pull up like a map or blueprints or something like that, but I wasn't able to do that. But that is a story that's gone online. So, Bill Murray has a restaurant that is right next to this hotel. And they may even share access to the same kitchen that was currently being remodeled. Okay. Like, that's it, Jason? I thought your Donald Trump is a werewolf was tenuous. That's not it. There has been a long-standing conspiracy theory. We've talked about it on this show before, that there is a group of people who specifically target black men and women to steal their organs. And this is really, really big. I always say there's two conspiracy theory communities. I mean, obviously there's a ton. There's the flat earthers, there's the 9/11 truthers, there's the people who believe the Illuminati's taken over the world. You do have some overlap here and there. But you actually do have two distinct conspiracy theory cultures. You have conspiracy theory, and then you have black conspiracy theory. And what's really interesting about the black conspiracy theory culture is, well, first off, a lot of it's true. When we look at things like the Tuskegee experiments, right? Using black men as medical guinea pigs while they're living. Things like that. Now, there's also conspiracy theories in the black community that we covered one on our show. There was a drink. It was like Ocean Punch or something, tropical punch drink, that if you drank it, it either made your penis small or it made you enraged, one of the two. I've always heard that malt liquor, the government puts an ingredient in malt liquor to make black men more angry and more violent. They're trying to poison the culture, poison the community. These are conspiracy theories that you don't hear about in conspiracy theory culture, which I always find super fascinating. It is very, very specific conspiracy theories. While you do have people who believe in Illuminati and adrenochrome harvesting, they will say that people are being harvested for their organs against their will. In the black community, it is very specific that it is black men and women that are having their organs removed. So the conspiracy theory here was that Kenneka Jenkins was targeted because she was a drunk black girl all by herself, walking all around. And let's back up. Either her drink was poisoned to have this high sedative in it, specifically to kill her, so her organs could be taken. But then you go, how did she walk around through the hotel? The other possibility is that she walked through the hotel and someone saw what was going on and waited for the perfect time to strike, and really she walked herself into her own death trap. Not knowing that when she found herself in the walk-in freezer, when she realized her mistake and tried to get out, the door opens up and there stands Saturday Night Live alumni Bill Murray. He's not going to let her go. Allegedly. So you have the part of the conspiracy theory, Bill Murray's restaurant is right next door. And there's long-standing conspiracy theories about black men and women being targeted for their organs. I'll be honest, I don't know if that conspiracy theory is true. I know that is well known in black conspiracy theory culture. I don't know if that's true. It would surprise me if there was zero truth to it. I think a lot of people are organ harvested against their will. I don't specifically think it targets black people, but I'm sure that they do make up a amount. But that's all conjecture, right? You go, okay, next door restaurant. I mean, I live next door to a McDonald's. It doesn't mean that I'm Ronald, Jason. It doesn't mean if anything goes wrong over there that I turned into the Grimace and stole all of their milkshakes. You're right. Doesn't. But here's where we get to the point of the cover-up. So, remember, she walks around the corner. The surveillance camera watched Kenneka Jenkins walk around the corner, and then there's no more footage of her. But I don't know who first discovered this. I don't know if it was the police, or I don't know if it was Kenneka's mother and father during their lawsuit. But at one point, someone realized that there was a video camera facing the walk-in freezer. There was a camera that 100% was zoomed in right on that freezer door, which would make sense because you'd want to prevent people stealing giant ham hocks out of there. So when the hotel was asked, hey, you've shown us all this video footage, except for the video footage of her actually going in. Was she pushed in? Was she held in there against her will? Can we see that video footage? The hotel goes, oh, there is no video footage. That camera stopped working on August 30th. So 9 days before this all went down, the camera just, stopped recording. So now we're getting to the point of a conspiracy. Now we're getting to the point of a cover-up, where that camera could have easily had been working, and someone told the hotel, you need to delete all that footage, and you need to tell the police it hasn't worked in weeks. Or really, just over a week. Another curious thing that people who look at the death of Kenneka Jenkins says, this walk-in freezer, like all modern walk-in freezers, has a safety button on the inside. A big white button right next to the door, right on the door inside. So if you do get locked in, you press that button, and it's so big, you can almost just fall against it, right? It's so if you're carrying boxes of stuff, you can bump against it, and it will open the walk-in freezer door. I've worked in walk-in freezers a ton in my life. I know exactly what it is, because you do get stuck in walk-in freezers from time to time, and people go, well, how come she wasn't able to get out? People go, well, she was really drunk, and she had this migraine medicine in her, which she doesn't take. Who put it in there? But she was so drunk, she must have just succumbed to hypothermia, and she wasn't really aware of where she was at, and she fell over. Other people say, no, you don't get it. She walked in there, sure, but someone wouldn't let her out. And in fact, that walk-in freezer was so cold that not only would she die fairly quickly, but also it would preserve the body for the procedure that was about to take place. Now, as far as I can tell, all of the organ harvesting conspiracy theory has not been endorsed by her family. I don't believe they've ever called for her body to be exhumed. I don't even know if there would be organs left at this point. That sounds macabre, but you know what I mean. She may have been cremated, I'm not for sure, but as far as I can tell, the family does not endorse this conspiracy theory, so they're not like, let's take a look at her body, let's take a look at her autopsy record. See if this is actually true, see if one of her organs is missing. This is where we get back into the circumstantial thing. She ends up dying on September 9th. September 10th is when the cops finally start reviewing all the video footage and all of that. That was all in 2017. Another thing that was happening in 2017 is famous Bill Murray friend Selena Gomez was suffering from lupus. And in the year 2017, she got a kidney transplant. She got a brand new kidney put in her. And she tweeted about it. And she said, hey, I gotta say thanks to my best friend who donated her kidney to me. Now I can go on. Now, I don't think it cures her lupus, but she's like, now I got a new kidney and it's going to give me strength and I'll be able to keep making music and keep being in television shows. I don't think she said all that stuff, but she just said it's good to be alive, right? And it's good to have friends that'll donate a kidney to you. And she tweets that out and she said, listen, I didn't tell anyone about this kidney transfer. I didn't tell anyone about this kidney transplant. It happened earlier in the summer, but I just want to let everyone know what was going on. So summer of 2017, Kenneka Jenkins was still alive. But here's the thing. There was not a single news report, tweet, blog, YouTube video, nothing about that kidney transplant until September 10th, 2017. The same day the police officially opened the investigation. Oddly enough, again, what does any of this mean? In June 2017... earlier that same year, Selena Gomez made a music video for her song called Fetish. That music video takes place in a walk-in freezer. I mean, listen, man, this is the thing. I was watching that video by Strange Bar and Grill, and I was like, this is nuts. And I'm really surprised this is not a bigger story. Because this really is Elisa Lam level weirdness. And you have all of this footage. And you have this conspiracy theory involving some of the biggest people in Hollywood, and no one's talking about it. And it kind of, I hate to talk about a real-life true crime case like this, because it's sad that somebody died, but it does hit all of those things. One, it has the true crime component. Was she the victim of a Chicago gang? But then you start to look at the conspiracy of it all, the cover-up footage that they claim never existed. And if it's true that, let's say the camera was working and it did catch somebody else in that area and the hotel deleted that and say it never worked, then who's to say that the hotel allegedly didn't delete other footage throughout the night that showed somebody following Kenneka? Maybe even footage of somebody talking to her earlier in the night that they were ordered to get rid of. And if that's the case, somebody could have said, hey, let's meet up. We're going to be back in this room. Just walk through here, walk through here, walk through there. I'll meet you over there. And then bam. I can pour alcohol down your throat with a funnel all day long. Once I have you isolated. I can give you this medication. I can make it look like you just died of hypothermia. Once I'm isolated. So if there was footage of someone outside the door that the hotel got rid of, allegedly, then is there other footage that has been gotten rid of over the course of that night? Could a Chicago gang have the power to do that? Certainly. It's possible. It's not impossible. Would Bill Murray have the ability to do that? Absolutely. 100%. If Bill Murray walked up to you right now and said, hey, can you delete those photos from your phone? You're like, I didn't even take photos of you. He's like, yeah, not of me, just photos. I want you to get rid of 5 photos. You go, I want to do that. I think he was pulling a joke, and I'd laugh until I realized he was serious. And I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. Well, what if he lived next to you? What if his business was right next to yours and he was a really cool guy? You're like, Jason, I still wouldn't if I thought it would lead to solving a missing persons case. Well, welcome to Illinois. It's a dirty state, allegedly. So, is that the case? Was she a victim of organ trafficking? Was she a crime victim? Or was it what we see so often, a horrible accident? Remember, the police are still investigating it. They still think there was foul play at some point. They don't necessarily think that's what caused her death in the walk-in freezer, or that's why she ended up there. But is it possible that someone said, I mean, like, listen, you're walking through a hotel at 3 a.m, you're tipsy, you're a little drunk. Bill Murray shows up and says, hey, I'm looking for an actress for my new movie, Caddyshack 2. Auditions are back there. You'd go, and you would delete 5 photos from your phone. I know it. Or somebody saying, hey, you know, I'm an agent. I'm looking at you. You're beautiful. You're gorgeous. Hey, I actually have a guy in the back. I know it's going to sound weird, but he's getting ready to leave. He's headed out to Dubai tomorrow, but he's told me to go out and look for beautiful young women. Yeah, we got a bunch of women back there. Just walk back there. And that footage disappears. What's interesting about this is I say a lot of people haven't been getting the word out. This is a popular story in the Black community. And one of the content creators, a man named Zach TV, was a local who was covering this story. And he would tell people, yeah, you know, I'm covering the story about Kenneka, and I'm starting to get people telling me, hey, you got to stop talking about this. You got to stop talking about this, man. Something bad's going to happen to you. And his friends aren't telling him that. He's getting these anonymous phone calls and emails saying, hey, you need to shut your mouth. You need to drop this story. And he's like, yeah, whatever. He keeps covering it. 8 months after Kenneka Jenkins died in that hotel, Zach TV was gunned down. The police investigated it, but they believe it had nothing to do with the Kenneka Jenkins story. They said it most likely was just mutual combatant gang-on-gang violence. Another life tragically cut short, just like Kenneka Jenkins. A mystery left unsolved that may lead towards a sinister, bloodthirsty conspiracy that could happen to any of us at any time. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm glad you listened to it today. Have a great one, guys.